From the nation's capital, the Public Enlightenment Show, an unrehearsed, hastily assembled program enlightening the public by providing the context we need to understand the news. Now here's your host, Brian Hansberry.
Yes, very smooth beginning to the show tonight on this Monday. What day is it? February 24th. A day that will live in infamy. If you're here, say hello in the chat. We'd love to get a conversation started because we are in an information war. And one way that we battle in the information war is that we talk to each other and we have community and communion, and we come together to talk about the information that is happening in our world, and we up the integrity of our information and the integrity of our media diets, and we provide context for the news to help us understand the news. We provide the essential context needed to understand the news. I will get that catchphrase locked in very, very soon. Currently over in the other window, I have video of a woman being attacked by unaccountable thugs working for a private security company in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. It's pretty terrifying. I am going to remove that from my screen. And I am going to ask you, if you are here, to type into the chat anything that you are not sure if it's true or not. And we're going to find out together for a segment I have yet to make a thing for called Is This Shit True? Thursday's show started out on fire. Thursday's show started out with Mario Savio from the Berkeley protests in the 60s doing his classic, you got to put your bodies onto the gears of the machine and tell the people who run the machine that it won't work unless they change. And that's what we need to be doing. I forget what I was going to write down. That's okay. Let's get into it. We are having a relaxed one today on the show. If you don't type into the chat soon, we may end the show completely, but it's a great show. So let's get into it. Let's get into it. Oh, nope, that's wrong. Let's get into it. Here we go. That's what I'm talking about. So let me adjust the screen real quick, just ever so slightly. We're just going to review what's happened. We're going to review what's happened, and we can talk about it. We can chat about it. And we can give ourselves and each other and whoever else is listening, we can give them context on the news. So I just wanted to start with this, just a display of a protest in California at El Capitan. Let's get that. Let's get that fully on the screen. I'm talking about. El Capitan displays a massive American flag upside down, the traditional signal of distress or extreme emergency. You know, I would assume that lots of climbers are, anti-fascism, and we are seeing people protest and rise up in various places around the country. We are in an information war. I'm going to write about the information war this week, and it is going to be basically the theme of the Public Enlightenment Show section of the Public Enlightenment brand of shows and entertainment. And so it's going to be exciting. But one thing that is exactly necessary to happen in an information war is that people need to deliver the information of rejecting fascism, rejecting authoritarianism, to speak out against the things that they reject from their government. Obviously during COVID time, for example, we saw people rejecting public health measures, and we know that that was driven in many ways by the conversation that the right-wing information complex has with the base of the extreme MAGA faction in our country, where there is this ability they have to pick up on sentiment and sort of have a back and forth conversation and throw anything that's suggested up against the wall to see if it sticks. And so they ran with the idea that this was, government infringing upon your life, when any public health official around the world, anyone who deals in epidemiology, anyone who deals in how you solve mass epidemics and pandemics, is that you do have to, instill some measure of government control to keep fewer people from dying, right? We have a different situation now where lots of the things that are happening are much more organic. There is none of that infrastructure on the left that the right enjoys, where there is this massive communication network, right? There are scores of right-wing radio stations and radio hosts around the country. Right-wing radio reaches 15 million people every single day. There is just nothing on the left that is a communication structure that effectively gets, protest, pushback, and first of all, creates it. There's no top-down creation. Certainly, the Dems you're seeing are being pushed by the people of the country who are not okay with what's going on with Elon Musk and Donald Trump, right? They're being pushed bottom up. On the flip side, from the right, it's more of a top-down kind of a thing where, Republican politicians have no problem coming out and telling the people who listen to them, this is what's happening and you need to get pissed off about it, right? Like even the protest outside of the Treasury by the Democrats were reactive, right? In large part. So we see people protesting, and then it's important to protest fascism for reasons like this. By the way, again, if you're here and you're in the chat, type in your news sources, type in something you're not sure is true for a segment we're calling Is This Shit True? We'll definitely can do an Elon Musk wellness check. If you drop in any information about Elon Musk not being well, we can play that amazing thing. We can also play So You Think You Can Dance your way into proving that your news source is objective or something like that. We'll have to play the segment. But so here we've got Enrique Tarrio. Enrique Tarrio, I want to show you all this. Actually, I have the video, but I want to show you all this really quick. So Enrique Tarrio apology, because this is disgusting. This is disgusting that that a major news organization would have him on their program. This is a domestic terrorist. So CNN
Super Bowl ad, $8 million.
CNN has okay, some spicy ad here. But we're gonna get to this video in just a second. Here we go.
U.S. TV interview since the Capitol insurrection, the leader of the Proud Boys makes a stunning revelation about his involvement with Roger Stone. He also tells CNN's Sarah Seidner that he has no sympathy for members of Congress who feared for their lives that day.
Okay, well, I didn't know that about Enrique Tarrio. I saw him apologizing on video, but let's go back over to here. And then there's video. Let me pull that up. So this video, let's go to, is it my Instagram? And where do you find your saved videos? Oh my God, saved videos. Oh no. Oh yeah. Nope. Here we go. Saved. Here we go. Boom. Here we go. We're getting there, everybody. We're having a great time on the show. Nope. It's TikTok. We're having such a good time on the show. I'm so blessed to have you here. Let's go to, yeah, you see all those people liking these videos? It's hot. Now, where do you find your saved videos here? Liked? No. No. Favorites? Yes. Here we go.
You laughed for like 22 fucking years. Now you don't even want to look at my eyes. You fucking coward. You were a coward that day. You were a coward after.
Just go home. Just go home. You're a traitor to this country.
Yeah, so are you,
You're a traitor to this country.
You're a fucking traitor.
You're a fucking
Piece of
traitor to
shit.
this country.
That's why they fired your ass, and that's why your own people turned on you, piece of shit. You and your fucking boy over here. You fucking failure. And the other one's another fucking failure. A little failure. Run from me, motherfucker. Run from me. You fucking piece of shit. Run from me. Oh, you can say that while you're over there.
So that is Enrique Terrio. He's a domestic terrorist who was sentenced and put in prison for 22-year sentence for being a part of the Proud Boys insurrection that tried to overturn an election in our country. We live in a world where that has been normalized to some degree, where the politicians who supported that or participated in that are either been normalized or have been reelected president of the United States. But so this is like a terrifying consequence of when you release domestic terrorists and then they go march through the hallways of public buildings or hotels and threaten people who were victims of the insurrection. Okay, coup consequences. Let's get into it. In the USDA, multiple people have been asked to report the names of LGBTQ employee resource group leaders to higher ranking officials, according to interviews with workers and a document reviewed by Mother Jones. Apparently, this also happened at the Department of the Interior. Let's click through. LGBTQ federal workers say they're terrified they're about to be fired for their gender identity, sexual orientation, or past efforts to support other queer and trans employees. In other words, a second lavender scare. Okay, wild. All right, this is bad. This is not just some consequence of DEI, right? DEI, first of all, is just a bullshit term used, strategically weaponized by the right-wing information ecosystem, by the right-wing information complex, and by the politicians of the MAGA movement to basically resegregate society, to, eliminate especially trans people, but I'll also eliminate LGBTQ people from federal workplaces and also from protections that they have enjoyed as, members of our society with equal rights before the law. So this is a terrifying trend. And we can go and read that article. This is just a little bit of personal news. So Media and Democracy Project, the nonprofit that I co-founded with some others, we have had a petition to deny broadcast license in front of the FCC. That petition was rejected by the outgoing Democratic chairwoman of the FCC, Jessica Rosenworcel. We are appealing that process, and we had an article written about us in The Progressive. And let's go to my quote. Let's go to my money quote. Here we go. We got Gigi Sohn also in this article. Gigi Sohn is obviously like a hero. Really cool person who was nominated to be an FCC commissioner, but was basically harassed out of the nomination. Where's my money quote? Here we go. Let's read this whole paragraph. This CAR is the Center for American Rights. CAR is now suing all three networks. Its suit against CBS claims that the network employed biased editing on an interview with former Vice President Kamala Harris, while its suits against ABC and NBC allege anti-Trump bias during the nationally televised presidential debate and an equal time rule violation due to Harris's appearance on Saturday Night Live, respectively. So all of these are totally frivolous. I guess I say that in my quote. When it comes to the Center for American Rights challenges, they absolutely do seek to weaponize the licensing of the FCC in a way that is absolutely at odds. I say absolutely a lot. I would have hoped that Glenn would have edited that out. At odds with the First Amendment, says Hansberry, who claims that these suits were filed to extort better coverage and money from media outlets seen as hostile to Trump. CBS Paramount have a major merger deal. It is almost akin to saying, hey, that's a nice merger deal. It would be a shame if something happened to it. So that's my money quote from this article in The Progressive. So you can check that out. And then we have this from Jennifer Schultz, who is amazing. Sorry, my mom's texting me something. Fascinating. Okay. So Jennifer Schultz has this article that is local news deserves high marks for coverage of the Doge fallout. So we're going to take a look at that. Local news is doing what it does best, build trust by reporting on stories local residents can verify with their own eyes. Recently, much of that reporting is focused on the local impact of the reckless actions of Donald Trump and Elon Musk. So local coverage of the federal workers and their outrage. I actually can't wait to read this. I have not read this in full, and that is a really cool thing to be covering at this time. There have been lots of pieces of information coming out where you're seeing fed up, not only federal workers, but veterans who have been fired, who expect to have their benefits removed, people whose care has been affected by cuts to, VA. And this is just all a big nightmare for America. And are we getting that context in our national news? Local news, according to Jennifer Schultz's report here, is doing a great job. Here we have Mehdi Hassan reporting that more than a quarter of the contracts listed by Doge were actually already paid. This is, I don't know, what is this, the Wall Street Journal? The Journal found saving no money. For instance, Doge listed $168,000 in savings for terminating a contract with HHS for an Anthony Fauci museum exhibit. It had already been fully paid. So, I mean, I would even say that like this specific lie was even more especially cherry picked and pulled out by the Doge fraud team. And by Doge fraud team, I mean that they are fraudulent. Doge is not a real government entity, and it is a scam to enrich Elon Musk and destroy our government on behalf of right-wing billionaires. But Doge listed $168,000 in savings for terminating a contract with HHS for an Anthony Fauci museum exhibit. It had already been fully paid. So, that ride, Anthony Fauci, the ride, where you just take a tour of like a Brooklyn neighborhood and you play stickball, and then somebody sneezes. Somebody sneezes, and then he's like, and he sees it like a beautiful mind, and then you go on a little roller coaster, kind of like Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, if you remember that from Disney World, and you go past Anthony Fauci's life events. Oh, that'd be funny as hell. Okay. So Donald Trump announced that the deputy director of the FBI will be podcast host and all-around Jamoco Dan Bongino. This is just, we provide context to the news here so that we can understand what's going on in our world. Dan Bongino is just a right-wing provocateur. Everyone's doing the best they can with what they have, but he doesn't seem like a very good guy in terms of he could benefit from lots of therapy. So this is just like a random pull by this historian, Kevin Cruz. He just, I guess he went back in, I don't know what he searched for, but I guess he thought this was specifically worth raising. So Dan Bongino, the irony about this for the scumbag commie libs is that the cold civil war they're pushing for will end really bad for them. Libs are the biggest pussies I've ever seen, and they use others to do their dirty work. Their mamas are still doing their laundry for them as they celebrate tonight that their long-sought goal of the destruction of the republic has been reached. Incorrect use of a comma there, but they're not ready for what comes next. They never have been. It's all revolutionary cosplay with them, not anymore, as it's all real now. You assholes wanted it, now you've got it. Good luck. That is the new deputy director of the FBI. So let's be scared about that. Trump team, coup consequences. Trump team plans deep cuts at office that funds recovery from big disasters. Staff at the office, a branch of the U.S. Housing Department that Congress uses to address the worst catastrophes, could be reduced by 84%. Way to go, everybody. Now, this is terrifying. Let's watch this. This is terrifying. So the context here is that there was a public meeting. A congressperson was there. Everyone was shouting. People were shouting in support of the legislators on stage. People were shouting against them. This woman, is, I guess, known because she ran for office as a Democrat in like hyper red Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, or somewhere in the nearby Idaho area. And so I read another article today where she was saying what had happened to her. And so the sheriff, who is not the police chief of Coeur d'Alene, but the local sheriff who brings people to court, the sheriff walked up to her when she had an outburst and said, "Do you want me to pepper spray you right now?" That's according to this woman. And then when she was like, "What the fuck," or whatever, then he said to these guys, like, "Get her out of here." And so these men are not wearing uniforms. They're just random men. And so she started to have this hysterical, appropriately hysterical reaction.
Is this your deputy? No, don't fucking touch us. Is he a deputy? These are deputies. Who the fuck are these men?
Hey!
Some people are clapping.
We have some 150-year-old Social Security recipients. We know that government has been mismanaging money for decades, and we want to get up there now.
Who are these guys? Show your badge. Don't touch her. Who the fuck are you?
Cooperate, it'll be 100 times better.
Yeah, that's what they say to rape victims, you fucking piece of shit. You
This woman is pretty badass.
Who are you? Is this your deputy?
This woman is pretty. Wow. I mean, the presence of mind she has, the composure she has while being physically assaulted by strange men. It's pretty righteous. And also terrifying that this is what happened. So those men were with the private security company was called Lear Asset Management. What? That is like from a bad TV show like Reacher. We've been watching Reacher recently in our household because we saw someone do like a social media post about like, it seems like the premise of this TV show is what if a guy was big, and it's really stupid. And this seems like the kind of thing that would happen in Reacher. Just keeping up on the Zuck report. Team Trump says Mark Zuckerberg has more ass kissing to do. So I guess that's a direct quote, the more ass kissing part. Just so we are aware of what our oligarchs are doing and their relationship to our federal government. Thought this was really interesting. Here's how Republicans are planning to throw millions off Medicaid and lie about it. Those seem like that seems like the kind of reporting that we need to see. And so I really can't wait to read that as well. That came out today, so I did not read that yet. We really like to highlight whenever someone is headlining that this is a coup. I don't know who the quote is attributed to. Let's see who the quote's attributed to. Oh, okay. Yeah, this is reporting on Chris Mays. I made a video of this the other day. I didn't post it yet, but Chris Mays is the attorney general in Arizona, and she has a video where she just very flat out states that this is a coup, which is pretty righteous. I should post that. This is a coup. Trump and Musk purge is cutting more than costs, say experts. Now, we don't like this from a media reform and from a journalism perspective. You know, we don't necessarily have to put things that we know to be true into quotes. You know, is this a coup? I mean, most experts are calling it that. And then what a journalist would do is they can then acquire all of that reporting from experts and say, this is a coup. And I think it's important that headlines be as bold and forceful as possible, especially in this time. So this is a coup, according to legal experts like attorneys general. This is a coup, according to authoritarian experts. This is a coup, according to most people who are experts in naming and recognizing coups, political scientists. So do we really need our fourth estate, which is supposed to have a democracy bias, hedging and assigning this assessment only to, experts? That's a question for the journalism gurus to debate. Now we've got this guy just like licking the boots so hard. We could look
First,
I think what I'll do for tomorrow is I'll look up more stuff about Lutnick here.
First, I'd like to thank you, President Trump. It is the greatest honor to work for you, to be with you, to carry your name, your leadership, and your flag throughout the world. The press has no idea who the gentleman to my left is. They portray him in all sorts of ways.
So I just want to interrupt there. Donald Trump is a multi-impeached traitor to America who attempted a coup. He also was the #1 disinformer during the height of the COVID pandemic. A study found that the disinformation that he spread directly resulted in hundreds of thousands of needless American deaths. He has been found by a civil jury to have digitally penetrated a woman, which in all other instances is known as rape. He has been credibly accused of sexual assault. He has walked into the changing room of teenage girls at pageants that he hosted. He has bragged about sexually assaulting women on microphone. We learned that in October of 2016. There are numerous examples. He's been long known to be a fraud. He had multiple bankruptcies. He has stiffed contractors his entire career. It's extremely well documented. He had a fraudulent university. He and his son had a charity he and his son stole money from a children's cancer charity. These are just the highlights. He also has lied, at least, the number back in his first presidency was 30,000 times. But he's lied tens of thousands of times. There is nothing redeeming about Donald Trump. We are allowed to say that. We don't have to live in the world that has been created for us by the right-wing disinformation complex and the mainstream normalization complex. So what this guy is saying is pure propaganda. When we see these officials stand in front of us, we have to recognize with truth, like MAGA, like no shade, but this is the reality of Donald Trump. This isn't even an opinion about Donald Trump. These are real things and facts that have been reported and what we know. And Donald Trump has said himself, right? So this is just like a propaganda situation, and we need to understand that, and we need to view all of these things as that. As such, Fox, the cable channel, should never be watched by anyone because it is a propaganda channel in support of this once in a millennia unfit person.
But I know him as the smartest, most thoughtful, and most intuitive person I've ever met. And it's amazing to be in this room and to work for him. First,
So, look, everyone's doing the best that they can with what they have. Obviously, Donald Trump is a sociopath and has a narcissistic personality disorder. We have to understand what Lutnick's deal is. I'll look that up. And then J.D. Vance, you can look up Curtis Yarvin, and Peter Thiel, and you can find out everything about J.D. Vance and Peter Thiel and Curtis Yarvin's deals. They are not great people, and that is true about those people. Everyone's doing the best they can with what they have. Trump administration spends big taxpayer money on ads thanking Trump. So the Department of Homeland Security, if we're looking for fraud, waste, and abuse, the Department of Homeland Security has budgeted as much as $200 million on anti-immigrant ads. It was also reported that Kristi Noem said recently that Trump called her and said that he wants the first ad to thank President Trump. So this is totally corrupt and also a horrible waste of your money. These are the ads. Let's watch one.
I'm Kristi Noem, the United States Secretary of Homeland Security. Thank you, President Donald J. Trump, for securing our border, for deporting criminal illegal immigrants, and for putting America first. President Trump has a clear message for those that are in our country illegally. Leave now. If you don't, we will find you and we will deport you. You will never return. For too long, weak politicians left our borders wide open. They flooded our communities with drugs, human trafficking, and violent criminals. They put American lives at risk. Well, those days are over. If you leave now, you may have an opportunity to return and enjoy our freedom and live the American dream. But understand this. Under President Trump, America's borders are closed to lawbreakers. Follow the law, and you'll find opportunity. Break it, and you'll find consequences. The choice is yours. America welcomes those who respect our laws, because a strong nation is a safe nation.
That is propaganda from the administration of a traitor to the United States. Spending $200 million on an ad campaign that thanks the seditious president who is destroying our footing across the world. Some of the damage that he's doing is being seen by federal workers. This laid-off IRS employee said he had voted for Trump. He thought that someone with his business acumen would have come in with a fine-tooth comb and actually found it, instead of coming in with a wrecking ball and destroying people's lives for no reason. Donald Trump's entire lifelong MO, which has been widely reported and is readily available in the public record, is that he destroys people's lives for no reason. He destroys the lives of contractors that he stiffs. Tons of stories in Atlantic City and New York City about that happening. He has no business acumen. He is essentially like a mobster, and that's how he runs his businesses. He inherited $400 million. Economists have determined that if he had just put that into like mutual funds or market funds, that he would have more money than he has now. Okay, thank you so much. Now, we do have a viewer here, and they're not saying anything, and I would love them to say something. So, say something. What does that say? Something. I'm breaking up with you. Now, let's get into this rampant Nazism, a provocative gesture that resembled the salute Elon Musk gave. U.S. journalism is full of gooey-brained invertebrates, says hero Carl Bode. Yeah, I've seen some context that some context that people are not calling this outright a Nazi salute, right? Like resembled the Elon Musk salute, it says here. They might say it resembles a Nazi salute, but no one's actually calling it a Nazi salute, because apparently, like of legal departments at it's like, why bother poking that bear? It's a very litigious group. Obviously, they're litigious strategically in order to get better coverage, to get better treatment. But yeah, they keep giving Nazi salutes, guys. There's nothing normal about that, everyone in America. There's nothing normal about that. They keep giving Nazi salutes. And then social media becomes this playground for their disinformation efforts and their propaganda efforts and their trolling efforts, where so many of these accounts and, people who we have no idea if they're real or not are arguing about whether or not it's a salute or not. It is a Sieg Heil. And imagine, and so if it's just trolling, how is that any better? You're talking about one of the most horrific events in human history. So these are just not good people. And everyone's doing the best they can with what they have. What I mean by not good people is these are deeply troubled people who need therapy, who need to, go somewhere and figure their stuff out and learn, love and empathy and acceptance, and learn that, to lose some of their ego, which fills them with fear and keeps them lashing out and continuing a cycle of hate and judgment and violence and persecution and bigotry that they use to shield themselves. These people are deeply troubled, And so therefore they should not be in positions of responsibility, overseeing our government and, taking care of the American people. And to think otherwise is to have succumbed, unfortunately, to propaganda. This isn't a left or right thing. There's always going to be conservatives. There's always going to be liberals or progressives, whatever you want to call them. These people are extremists who do not have anybody's best interests at heart and have no business being anywhere near a leadership position. And I hope that we can soon all come to understand that. We are fighting an information war against these people. And these people have turned, these people like Donald Trump, like Steve Bannon, like Christopher Rufo, like Stephen Miller, like the people who work at the right-wing think tanks that generate all of this culture war BS that then becomes the topic and the fodder for our podcasts and our mainstream media and all of that kind of a thing. These people do not deserve to hold positions of power. And again, that's not a right or a left thing. Like, conservatism is totally normal and acceptable and fine and great. Liberalism is totally normal and acceptable and fine and great. These people are extremists who have no interest in doing anything other than destroying democracy for their own twisted aims and their own benefit. So, maybe we want to do something about it. You know what I mean, guys? So this guy, Julian Sanchez, I think I immediately followed this guy. Adam Carolla, the real one? Interesting. So anyway, this guy, Will Stansel, he's talking about this guy, Julian Sanchez, highlighting for everyone that he had posted this. And so this guy nailed it. He said, the next step, and I will be delighted to be proven wrong on this one, is the ironic adoption of the Z Kyle by MAGA supporters. Not because they're actual Nazi sympathizers, heaven forfend, but to own those wacky libs with their overreactive imaginations. While many of them will actually mean it when they say this, the trend will be eagerly encouraged by and provide useful cover for the non-trivial segment of the MAGA base that is already self-consciously pro-fascist. Trump welcomes it all with a smirk. Meanwhile, those who find his new trend alarming will be chided for not getting the joke. When did this guy write this? January 20th. He immediately picked up on that this would become the next thing after Musk did it. So I recommend following Julian Sanchez if you want to get some context, because this guy nailed it. Among accomplished researchers, the fear is that this coming generation of scientists will look overseas or leave their fields entirely, endangering America's multi-generational standard as the leader in scientific research. Interesting. So one more gift to Vladimir Putin is that we are destroying our first in the world status as a nation where we are doing cutting edge science and funding cutting edge science. And so it is not good for our country. I don't care. I know Charlie Kirk is touring the country telling y'all bros not to go to college and that's stupid. But why would someone do that? And what are the beliefs of Curtis Yarvin and J.D. Vance and Peter Thiel and Elon Musk? What are their accelerationist beliefs? What do they believe about society and people? What does Peter Thiel believe about the writings of J.R.R. Tolkien? Why did he name his company Palantir, which is literally the way that the most evil dude in the books is able to spy on people, and it is a conduit for his evil acts and his domination of the world that is the J.R.R. Tolkien world. So what are these people's beliefs? And so why would they be accelerating the destruction of America? Might want to look into that. Why are we going to Mars? Huge question. Why does anyone use that as a talking point about Elon Musk? There's nothing good about that. It costs money. We're never going to go there. It is extremely stupid. We should be focusing on our country and our world and our country and its success and its thriving. And it's only if you have like a really depressing and sad view of humanity that you would pursue this idea of Mars, or that you would use it to like make this guy who's really deeply in need of help seem cool. I saw, we're going to get into it. Okay, so among those Trump and Musk fired at the FAA, lawyers who help keep drunk or reckless pilots out of the skies, air traffic control support, employees who track potential new flying hazards like cranes, staffers who medically clear pilots to fly. This is who's been fired from the FAA. Coup consequences. Now, if you're watching, please type into the chat so I can talk to you. Some of Doge is retribution, some is corruption, some is incompetence, some is a mix of those, but this is destruction for destruction's sake. It's undermining American science, industry, and commerce just because they can. They are firing 500 people, including 3 lab directors who were promoted in the last year from the National Institute of Standards and Technology. This is a safety standards agency. Why would you do that? Coup consequences. Guarantee you that is not a large part of the federal budget. Okay, as Doge and Musk and Trump gut government, their axe-cutting agency gets cash infusion. ProPublica, doing great journalism. Tim Wu says Doge may well cost more than it saves. Saw someone post something today about how it doesn't make any sense to have done what they did at the national parks. Of course it does if you realize that they are going to rape our national parks for resources and destroy them. But it doesn't make any sense speak from a dodgy perspective because they actually make more money. It's a $3 billion budget and they pull in something like $50 billion. If the loan is canceled, Tesla CEO Elon Musk stands to benefit the most. This is more of the self-enrichment scheme of Elon Musk. So Rivian had a loan that was going to come from the government. And now the number one competitor of Rivian is running the country. This is just about them being gross. This is an interesting perspective. Yo, Big Nick, what up? What up? What up? What up? What up? What up? Yo, the InfoWar, I mean, it's raging. It is raging, my guy. I'm rethinking the whole deal. Like, you are amazing and I'm so grateful for you. But I'm rethinking the whole deal. Have you been the one sitting here, by the way, this whole time? Because I see one person in Twitch. But so, the idea is that I would do this to generate videos that I then post on like TikTok and Instagram. But this is, I think it's more like I don't do this. And then I make videos that are vertical, which I can't do in my current setup. And then I just make them. Oh, hell yeah. Okay. Well, then I guess you replaced someone else. But the InfoWar, let me tell you, it's going incredibly. It's like they say, become a doctor because people will always be sick. Well, become someone who live streams about the information war because it will always be raging, baby. So we're going through it. I think that I'm going to not do these until I have a much larger audience so that there can, no offense, love your interaction, but there could be much more interaction and there could be all kinds of bits. Like I have a segment I want to do, which is called, Is This Shit True? There's obviously this segment. I mean, we can do this, but you live in Australia. Well, let's just, there's this segment that eventually we'll do. So you think you can dance? Your way into convincing me your news is objective, and the reason why we play that game in the future when there are more. No, Mega Church of Joy I'll do every day. No problem. And actually I'm going to up the game on Mega Church of Joy. because I'm going to like make it so that it's like more codified. Of course, more people in there would be great too, so that there's more people to talk about their fears and everything like that. And more people, we got to be given sermon suggestions, because that's going to be gold. That's going to be gold for me to like send and promote, right? Well, this guy made that up. Whoa. Can really impress people. But also what I wanted to say is that, yeah, there's no such thing as objectivity in news, in journalism. And basically it's an opportunity for me to make that point. Grabbing someone mastermind. Yeah, hell yeah, dude. Have you seen this one? Have you seen all of them? There's only 3 right now. But maybe, who knows, tonight maybe that's something I'll do just for fun, is make up more segments, even though I might not be doing this show regularly. Oh, I could make up Mega Team segment things. Let's go through them. Yeah, hell yeah, dude. I love that. Let's go through them. Yes, you're a great person. Here we go. I mean, that's an opus. Oh, wait. Hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I mean, the eagle thing is like inspired, man. I mean, I will just toot my own horn. I just like, no, just using Canva, not much experience with Canva. And then I did use Grok. I'll tell you what, I used Grok. But if you use Grok to make fun of Elon Musk, it's okay. But I was like, show me an eagle carrying a brain. Show me a bald eagle carrying a brain. And then I think I was like, make the brain larger. Anyway, this is an interesting perspective here. Mexico's president saying that if cartels are terrorists, then those supplying the weapons to the terrorists, 74% of which come from the U.S., they should be held accountable for aiding terrorism. So they're having a big lawsuit against U.S. gun manufacturers, which, since our Supreme Court is actually given over to putting as many guns in the hands of Americans as possible, we love that, because that's one way we can battle our corrupt Supreme Court. Okay, this should have gone next to the other woman who was being pulled by unidentified, uniformed people out of a town hall in Coeur d'Alene. This should have gone with that, but this is just to highlight that there is coverage of the town halls, which is pretty great. More on the town halls. This is this great thread that this guy had. We can't afford air traffic controllers, but we can afford a $200 million government ad campaign thanking Trump. That's right. Let me put that over with this Rolling Stone one, because that is really ridiculous. Okay, now to the DOD firings, and then we will be out of here. Dude, now does anyone remember the state? Now, did you get the state in Australia? Because here we go. Hold on. The state. YouTube. We're going to go Doug. How do we do Doug? Doug. Did you ever see this? Have you ever seen this, Nick? Here we go.
Forget it, I'm out of here. Forget it, I'm out of here. Forget it, I'm out of here. Just do whatever, Dad. I'm out of here.
Yeah, I thought that was worth it. All right, here we go. In some ways, that's even more chilling than firing the 4 stars. So they fired multiple 4-star generals. They also fired the top JAG lawyers. So JAGs are the lawyers within the DOD. And so they fired the top ones. And that's terrifying because that means that our military is about to do some illegal stuff. Because you don't fire people unless you're about to do illegal stuff. You don't fire the lawyers. So they removed the black chairman of the Joint Chiefs in the middle of his 4-year tour without cause, and they're seeking to replace him with a white retired Air Force 3-star general who lacks the requisite experience as a service chief or combatant commandeer. Let me just say, this is classic just asking questions approach to delegitimizing the achievements of black people. And critically, you don't even have to be a black person who talks about race. Simply being black to these people means you are obsessed with race. So let's take a deeper dive here. Max Kennerly, just look at these paragraphs from the AP story. Hegseth called Brown unqualified solely because he's black. Then they fired him and replaced him with a white guy so indisputably unqualified that he requires a presidential waiver. This is what merit means to them. Let's look at these 2 paragraphs. Hegseth had previously taken aim at Brown. First of all, you got to fire the chairman of Joint Chiefs, he said flatly in a podcast in November. And in one of his books, he questioned whether Brown got the job because he was black. Was it because of his skin color or his skill? We'll never know. But always doubt, which on its face seems unfair to CQ. But since he has made the race card one of his biggest calling cards, it doesn't really much matter. Kane's military service includes combat roles in Iraq, special operations postings, and positions inside some of the Pentagon's most classified special access programs. However, it does not include key assignments that were identified in law as prerequisites for the job. Oh, yeah. New follower? Who are you? Say hello. Type something into the chat. Friggin' type it in. So this is the white guy here. This second guy, this is the white guy. It does not include key assignments that were identified in law as prerequisites for the job, with an exemption for the president to waive them if necessary in times of national interest. Oh, what's the national interest? Oh, right. Abject racism. So here's a little commentary on the news, take on that commentary on that thing that happened, which is what we do here. So why has there been no reporting from media reporters on who is in charge of the New York Times style guide? Because the New York Times is choosing to frame this way. Let's see what Michael Harriot has to say. He says, by accepting Trump's anti-black premise and regurgitating the narrative that equates anything black as DEI, the New York Times has become part of the propaganda machine. Do you see how that works? Trump fires Joint Chiefs chairman amid a purge at the Pentagon. General Charles Brown and a lady were among those fired as President Trump moved to root out diversity initiatives in the military. Did he move to root out diversity initiatives, or did he remove qualified people who were black and female? By adopting Trump's bullshit frame and the bullshit frame of the right when they talk about DEI in order to dog whistle and in order to resegregate society, what's going on at the New York Times? Why do the people who work there accept it? Because we all need jobs. And we all suffer under capitalist pressure. Still pretty gross, though. And that's why the New York Times should be canceled by you, because they are our $9 billion company. They are not going to stop or start doing anything differently with or without your money. The couple of investigations or scoops that they get a year, is that worth the way that they normalize and sane wash Donald Trump and have done so for years and years? Ish don't think so. So what you should do is go to mediaanddemocracyproject.org, go to the local journalism directory, and find local journalism reporting in the public interest, and spend your hard-earned New York Times subscription dollars on those outlets. Thank you so much. Moving right along, last night's Pentagon massacre is much more than realized, not just firing the black CJCS and first woman CNO, but all the senior JAG officers and hiring a man who just joined, oh, I forgot about this, 3 different crypto firms tied to Kushner and Thiel as chairman. Are you kidding my daddy? That I definitely have to make a video about tomorrow. Let's get this straight. The U.S. and Elon are now extorting Ukraine and threatening to turn off their Starlink internet access unless they give their critical rare earth minerals to the United States. Staggering levels of corruption. This is the text of the bullshit email all federal government employees just received from the Office of Personnel Management. What did you do last week? Please reply. I saw an incredible one. I got to find it. I'm going to find it right now. I'm going to do research right now with y'all. Okay, Blue Sky. Then we go and we type in. This is incredible. That's pretty great. This woman's pretty cool. Stick with me, gang. We're having a great time. We're almost done. Okay. So here we go. Now we go and we look it up. Oh, what did Barry Weiss say? Oh, I didn't even see what she said. These stiff-arm salutes are not expressions of sincere Nazism, but of an oppositional culture that, like a rebel band that keeps wearing fatigues after victory, has failed to realize it's no longer in the opposition. Yeah. No, dude. How can any single American Jew, no matter if they just are deluded by Fox News or whatever, how can they be on board with Barry Weiss's deal, man? Yowza bobowza. What did Nick say? Why did Nick say okay? Big Nick, why did you say okay? Oh, you're sticking with me, or you watched the, I forget, what time is it that you just said that? You said that right now. Okay. Now let's see. What am I doing? I'm looking for Elon Musk memo ketamine. Hell yeah, your dedication to the mega church of joy. Hell yeah, dude. Okay. Hopefully we'll find the one that I saw. But so crashed the stock market, accidentally laid off people, nuclear. So in case you didn't know this, Nick, Elon Musk issued a letter to like all federal employees that was like by Monday at 11:59 p.m. And he issued this on a Saturday. Provide 5 bullet points of what you did this week. And some people have had a lot of good fun with that. And I can't find the funny one, but it was like I abandoned my family. I got like whacked on ketamine. Okay, psychological warfare. All right. Okay. So look, here's what's going to happen. I am going to do some stuff to prepare for tomorrow's Mega Church of Joy. It's going to be awesome. But for those of you who have been here tonight, to our new follower, what's going to happen is like maybe this live stream is going to move to Substack because I have many more followers over on Substack and I write things over there. That's called publicenlightenment.com. Sorry. This is going to maybe move over to publicenlightenment.com. The other programming will continue to be on YouTube and Twitch. But I realized that I shouldn't be like doing this live stream until I actually have like a much larger audience. And so I'm going to try to build that audience. I'm grateful for you all, and I may simulcast this to like YouTube and Public Enlightenment, or Twitch and Public Enlightenment. And so I believe that our new viewer is a Twitch viewer. So that's great because then I can pick that over YouTube, I guess. But we'll see what happens. Maybe I pay for a restream so that I can blast it to even more places. Wouldn't that be nice? So maybe we'll do this once a week on a Monday moving forward, and we'll really make it a big event. And in the meantime, please follow me. I post shorter videos, clips of this show on TikTok and Instagram. I prefer if you follow me on TikTok. I need to get to 1,000 followers so that I can start live streaming on TikTok. I would be grateful if you could help me out with that. Follow me, subscribe anywhere and everywhere. Is that understood? That's like understood, Big Nick? Okay, right on, right on. Yeah. I mean, it's like you get mixed messages, right? You get the message that you need to be consistent as hell so that people like know where to find you and follow you. But that's good to know because that like makes way more sense to me, right? Like you move it around, you try to figure stuff out. Nighttime has been better for this show. I was doing it during the day, but like, let's be honest, I'm grateful that you are here. But you know, there's nobody who's coming to these. So I have to figure out how to get people to come before I like, you know, because this last hour plus that I've been doing this, I could have been making like, you know, a video that is much more polished and gets a point across. And, you know, it's all about healthy information. I want to also start making videos about like where to find healthy information, where to like find information about like protest and resisting, you know, talk about the information war, all that kinds of stuff. So anyway, please like and subscribe every single where that we are. Go to publicenlightenment.com. Be sure to follow and subscribe there. And, you know, look, every time that you're on social media, you have the opportunity to be a soldier in the information war. You already are conscripted into the information war. If you think that the world is in bad straits, a huge part of that is because of weaponized information strategically. Nick, I also realized after I went back and watched the last one that I shouldn't stop what I'm saying to like address because sometimes I'm in the middle of like a thing. All right, we're going to do that again. It's 11:03 p.m. You are a soldier in the information war, whether you like it or not. You have been conscripted into this war simply by being a human who is alive at this time. The internet developed over the last 20 years into a major means of communication. And only 20 years later, global authoritarians and right-wing broligarchs have taken over most of those means of communication. They are using those means of communication to turn part of the army that you are a part of against you and all of us global citizens. In the United States alone, 30% of the population believes that the destruction of their country is a great thing, that a reordering of the world order to have us now be an ally with Russia is a good thing. And that is a direct result of the information war that is being waged every single time you pick up a phone, look at a TV, or pick up an old newspaper. So what you need to do is recognize that nothing is going to change and you're a victim and a participant in the information war, whether you like it or not. So what do? You start to be your own media. You start to be a relay station for healthy information that is fact-based and aligns with your values. Only by flooding the zone with joy, there we go. Only by flooding the zone with joy can we counteract Steve Bannon, Vladimir Putin, Donald Trump, Christopher Rufo, Stephen Miller, the right-wing oligarchs. That's the only way we can counteract their program, is to flood the zone with joy, healthy, fact-based information. So those are your marching orders, because every single time you pick up your phone, on the other side of it is Vladimir Putin, is Steve Bannon, is some right-wing propagandist, is Rupert Murdoch is convincing you to hate your neighbor and love the billionaire. And we have to reverse course. So much more to come on that, but let's get into it. Let's do it, baby. And I love you and you love me. And we are a happy pro-democracy, pro-truth, as it accords with facts and reality family. So we will catch you on the flip side, and boopy doopy doopy. Here's to healthier information.